Hello and welcome to another cardigan tutorial. The bodice of this cardigan is made with the same pattern as my other bubble sleeve cardigan, which you can find here in case you are interested in making one. This cardigan, though, has balloon sleeves, one of the trends that is on right now. For this cardigan, I am using Simply Chunky yarn by Paintbox, which is 100% acrylic, and a 7mm hook. First start with a slip knot and 60 chain stitches. At the end of 60 stitches, skip the first chain and insert the hook at the second chain as shown. And crochet a slip stitch. Continue crocheting slip stitch on each stitch until you have 12 slip stitches in total. At the 13th stitch, we work with closed half double crochet. Yarn over, insert the hook at the next stitch, pull a loop, then this loop, pull it through the other two loops that you had on the hook, keeping the loop with your two left fingers to help it stay in place. Keep repeating the same actions on the next chain stitches. You can see the transition from slip stitch to closed half double crochet here. Keep crocheting closed half double crochet to the end of the chain. In total, there will be 12 slip stitches and 47 closed half double crochet stitches, since one chain we used at the beginning for the turn. Crochet one chain, turn your work, and now on to the second row. From now on, we work on back loop only, so insert the hook at the second stitch, but back loop as shown, and crochet a closed half double crochet. Keep crocheting closed half double crochet on each stitch until you have 47 stitches in total. Once you have crocheted 47 stitches in closed half double crochet, then change to slip stitch at back loop. So insert the hook at the 48th stitch and crochet a slip stitch. Continue crocheting slip stitch till the end of the row. Your work will look like this. Then we start the third row. Make one chain and turn your work. Again, skip the first chain and crochet on the second stitch in back loop as shown, a slip stitch. Continue crocheting slip stitch until you have 12 slip stitches. At the 13th stitch, we change to closed half double crochet. Yarn over, insert your hook at the back loop of the corresponding stitch, pull a loop, then pull this loop through the 2 other loops. Keep crocheting closed half double crochet to the end of the row. This is how your work will look like at the end of the 3rd row. To crochet the back panel of the bodice, you will need to repeat row 2 and 3 27 times. For the 2 front panels, start the same way as for the back panel, but repeat row 2 and 3 13 times. Make 2 of them. Then sew them same as my previous cardigan. You can find the detailed tutorial at the right top of this video and the link on the description box. For the sleeves, start to crochet 54 chain stitches, then skip the first chain and crochet a slip stitch as shown. Then continue crocheting another 4 slip stitches. In total, 5 slip stitches. These will be the cuff of the sleeve. Then on the 6th stitch, crochet 1 closed half double crochet and so on till the end of the 1st row. In total, you will have 5 slip stitches and 47 closed half double crochet stitches. For the 2nd row, 1 chain, turn your work, skip the chain and insert the hook on the next stitch, back loop as shown. Crochet a closed half double crochet. Continue crocheting closed half double crochet until you have in total 47 closed half double crochet stitches. Then, for the last 5 stitches, switch to slip stitch in back loop only. Now for the 3rd row, again 1 chain, turn your work, skip the chain and crochet a slip stitch on the next stitch in back loop. Then continue another 4 slip stitches, in total 5 slip stitches. At the 6th stitch, switch to closed half double crochet and crochet 47 closed half double crochet stitches in back loop till the end of the row. At the 4th row, again 1 chain, turn your work, and crochet 47 closed half double crochet in back loop. At this row, we will not crochet the last 5 slip stitches, but we will go and crochet the 5th row. This will give the effect of the balloon sleeve. So for the 5th row, 1 chain, turn your work, and crochet 47 closed half double crochet stitches to the end of the row. This is how your work will look like at the end of the 5th row. From now on, we will repeat row 2, 3, 4 and 5 15 times. I will show you how to continue the sleeve, repeating row 2 to 5 one more time. So the 6th row is the same pattern as the 2nd row. 1 chain, turn your work, and crochet 47 closed half double crochet stitches in back loop. Once you arrive at the 47th stitch, continue crocheting 5 more slip stitches on the back loop of the 3rd row as shown. This is how your work will look like. Now row 7, same as 3rd row. 1 chain, turn your work, skip the chain and crochet 5 slip stitches on back loop. Then switch to closed half double crochet stitch and crochet 47 stitches on back loop to the end of the row. To start row 8, 1 chain, turn your work, skip the chain stitch and crochet on back loop 47 closed half double crochet stitches. Once we arrive at the 47th stitch, we leave the 5 last stitches without crocheting and go back and work the 9th row. So for the 9th row, 1 chain, turn your work and crochet 47 closed half double crochet stitches. This is how your work will look like once row 9 is finished. By now you know how the sleeve pattern works, so just continue repeating row 2 to 5 12 more times. I already repeated 1 time, so in total you will have the pattern of row 2 to 5 13 more times repeated. Once you arrive at the end of row 57, your sleeve will look like this and you will have 14 ribbings at the cuff of your sleeve. To finish the sleeve, we need to crochet 1 more row. So for the 58th row, 1 chain, turn your work and crochet 47 closed half double crochet stitches. At the 48th stitch, switch to slip stitch and crochet 5 slip stitches to the end of the 58th row on back loop only. Then crochet 1 more chain and pull some yarn to use for the sewing of the sleeve and cut the yarn. Repeat the same pattern for the other sleeve, then sew the sleeves to have them ready to sew them to the bodice. I used the same sewing technique that I used for the sewing of the bodice, which I will show you in more details in a second. Then place the back panel and 2 front panels on top of it and sew them on both sides and shoulder sections. Remember to sew the sleeves with the same technique as the one of the bodice. First, fix the yarn that you are sewing with, then start inserting the needle from the edge of the front panel and pull. Then insert the needle through the V-stitch on the back panel edge and pull. Keep sewing through V-stitches on the edges of the front panel and back panel, and leave an opening for the sleeve. You will have an invisible seam. Then move on to sew the shoulder section. Make sure that the yarn is fixed well, then insert the needle at the seed stitch before the ribbing and pull upwards. Then find the corresponding stitch on the back panel and insert the needle and pull the yarn downwards. Then insert the needle at the V-ribbing on the front panel edge upwards and next on the V-ribbing on the back panel downwards and pull. Next, insert the needle at the previous V-ribbing stitch on the front panel and the seed stitch and pull upwards. On the back panel, insert the needle on the seed stitch downwards. Then on the front panel, sew upwards through the seed stitch and V-ribbing. Keep repeating till the edge of the front panel is all sewed. For a more detailed tutorial on sewing, check the tutorial on the bubble sleeve cardigan. Then once the bodice is sewn, sew the sleeves on both sides. For that, place 1/2 of the sleeve at the underarm and start sewing with a simple stitch, making sure that you sew exactly half of the sleeve portion. Arrive at the high point of the shoulder, your other half should be enough long to cover all the opening that was left at the back panel. Then you will need to crochet the border, which goes all around the edge of the front panel and the neck. For that, take the yarn and find the back loop of the first stitch of the front panel edge. Pull up a loop and try to keep the loose end with your 2 other fingers. Try to tangle the loose end or just make a knot with it. Once you have the loop, insert the hook on the next stitch, back loop, and crochet a slip stitch. Continue crocheting slip stitch on each stitch till you arrive at the neck area. Continue with slip stitch at the back neck area, just make sure that you don't crochet too many or just a few stitches. Otherwise, you might end up with a ruffling neck border or a tight border. For a more detailed tutorial on that, check my previous video link in the description box. Then continue slip stitch on the other front panel. At the end, crochet 1 chain, turn, skip the chain, and continue crocheting slip stitch on each stitch on back loop till you arrive at the other side of the border. For this cardigan, I went on crocheting 6 rows of slip stitch on back loop. At the end, I sewed in all the ends, and here is the result. So, how does it look?